Welcome to the Let's Talk Kids Health live show, episode 58. I'm Dr. Narissa Bauer, your host. I'm a behavioral pediatrician and CEO of Let's Talk Kids Health. As you know, the concept of the show is to share information about behavioral health, parenting, and family wellness. Each week, I bring you topics and guests to help me advance this mission so that we can all talk together. Now, let us know that you're here by commenting, asking questions, liking at any time, saying hello. And in a little bit, if you have any questions, please don't be shy and they'll be asked of my guest. The replay will be immediately available after the broadcast. And make sure you share this episode with anyone you think who would benefit. Now, if you don't want to miss future episodes or maybe check out the past ones, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Narissa Bauer MD, follow my blog Facebook page, Let's Talk Kids Health, and join my free parenting discussion group. Okay, so today's topic is creating and organizing mental script with Lisa Woodruff. Lisa Woodruff is a productivity specialist, home and paper organization expert, and founder and CEO of Organize 365. Lisa is the host of the top-rated Organize 365 podcast, where she shares strategies for reducing overwhelm, clearing mental clutter, and living a productive and organized life. Lisa also has authored multiple books, including The Paper Solution and Organization is a Learnable Skill. Lisa believes organization is not a skill you are born with, which is good because that's great. It is a skill that's developed over time and changes with each season of life. I am so honored to have Lisa back here on the show. She came and gave us some wisdom in my Teach Me ADHD membership group, and I am so glad to share her today with you all. Thanks for coming to the show, Lisa.
Dr. Bauer, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness. I was looking forward to this the minute that you signed up, and I was like, okay, I'm so excited. Your energy is always there. And, I just love talking about this. You give such practical tips and strategies, which I think all of us can use. So, when you propose the title of this, I want to kind of find out from you. I mean, because I know that if the space around me is cluttered, I just feel like this, which you can't see anything right now. I'm so glad. But I think this is so important because so many of my families just need that calmness and that skill to model, especially for the families that I work with kids with ADHD, because we all know that this is not a skill that you're born with. You got to learn it somehow, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I just wanted to find out from you. I mean, how do we set up cues to get organized?
Yeah. So my background is actually, I'm a teacher. I'm an
Uh-huh.
early childhood and elementary teacher. I was a teacher for a while. I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. And then I started my business the year that I turned 40. And when I started Organize 365, I thought that you either were born organized or you were not born organized. And if you weren't born organized, you could hire me as a professional organizer to get you organized. But over time, what I realized was my clients were learning to get organized. They would call me and they would say, we don't need you to come again. And I thought they had run out of money. And it wasn't that they ran out of money. They said, oh no, we finished it this weekend. We asked ourselves the questions you kept asking us and we just did it. And I was like, wait, you learned like how to organize a different space that I hadn't taught you? And they're like, yeah. I was like, oh, this is so much better than you needing me to organize your space. It means that organization is a learnable skill.
Mm-hmm.
And my children both had ADHD growing up. And I would help them organize their bedrooms, but I also taught them the skill of getting organized. And in order to learn anything, you need to learn the skill. And then if it's something like organization or laundry or dishes, or like you have to create a habit. Like you don't want to always be thinking through all of the steps to do it. So you need to set up these cues to get organized.
Mm-hmm.
And I had two totally different kids. One kid decided that he would prefer to have a lot less stuff so that he could clean his room much faster.
Okay.
And that's how he chose to do organization. And the other one loves stuff. And so she would get rid of as much as she would bring in. But it took her a lot longer to learn the skill of organization. So learning organization, and I know inside of the Organize 365 audience for the podcast as well, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to listen to a Lisa podcast. And they'll sit on the couch and they're like, next thing you know, I am up and I'm organizing. Like I wanted to veg on the couch, but just listening to the podcast is a cue for people to get organized. So there is like a script that you can write yourself that Once you do these 3 things, you will just naturally keep moving on into organizing. And that is the hardest part about getting organized, is just the getting started. The getting started. What do you do first? What do you do second? How do you keep your momentum going? So 5 minutes in, you're not like, there's coffee somewhere. I gotta go run an errand or something. And you just naturally get in this queue of wanting to keep going in organization.
Yes, you hit it you just hit it out of the park, because when people face, I'm looking at my pantry. I was looking at it this morning. It was organized like a couple months ago. It is just, I
Mm-hmm.
can't even see anything anymore, and I'm so overwhelmed, and I just know it's going to need organization again. But the thought of even knowing where to start or how to do that
Mm-hmm.
is just
Mm-hmm.
exhausting. So
Yes.
please help me. Please help us.
Okay, so it's easier than you guys think, but it is all about establishing good habits. So when
Yes.
you get up in the morning, you go to the bathroom and then you're up, right?
Hmm.
So you can lay on your bed for a while and check different social media and stuff, but eventually you have to go to the bathroom. And once you go to the bathroom, then you're like, well, you're already in here. You might as well brush your teeth. Okay, I brushed my teeth. Well, then, and you just kind of get going into your morning routine. So
Hmm.
the very first thing you need to do is just start the initiation of getting organized. And what's so interesting about organization is that when you look at ADHD and how it impacts the prefrontal cortex of the brain,
Hmm.
which is your executive function, 6 out of 8 of the executive functions are organization related. So that's why it's so hard, is because you're fighting against that. If that is an area that is weaker for you, you're fighting that in addition to, let's be honest, I love organizing. Not everybody loves organizing. So you don't want to do it,
Uh-huh.
and it's hard to do it. And
Yep.
the first thing is just to get started. So what is the one thing that can help you get started? So in every single area you're going to organize, pantry is a great example. It's shopping day, so we got to shop, so we're going to go in the pantry. The first thing you need to do in your pantry is take out all of the empty boxes where somebody took out the last of something but didn't take out the box, right?
Hmm.
Or you've got 3 or 4 boxes that just have 1 or 2 things in them. So you take those 1 or 2 out, you put them in a bin, and you eliminate those boxes. You shake all the cereal boxes to see which ones are almost empty. Like, you go through and you eliminate the trash. That is step 1 in every single space. How much can you just declutter, just get rid of what is trash? That is the step of initiating organization.
Okay. Okay. How long does that take? I mean, if you keep up with it, I imagine it shouldn't take too long. But again, like you said, it takes it being a habit.
Right. So
Yep.
initially, when you start getting in the habit of being an organized person, every space in your house is not to the level you want it to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to spend most of your time just getting rid of trash. Honestly, if you go in a space and just get rid of trash on a regular basis for like 6, 8 weeks, you're going to feel like awesome. It could take 5 minutes, it could take 15 minutes. You're always going to see a result when you leave. You're like,
Yes.
yeah, I'm making progress. I'm making progress. But eventually you'll get to the point where there really isn't very much trash left, or you're done in a couple minutes. You're like, but I have a couple more minutes. What do I do next?
Yes. And you're so right, because getting out the trash first and being able to see that, it's like you feel
Mm-hmm.
so accomplished.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that was your tip for setting up the cues to get organized?
Yes. To get started, I have a little script that everyone goes through. It ends
Uh-huh.
up being 3 things once you get used to taking out the trash.
Okay.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
You literally have to do it like this. You have to go into your pantry, and I want you to audibly say to yourself, trash, 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 trash. Because when you're in the pantry, you're gonna be like, oh, Oreos. And then you're gonna eat an Oreo. And you're like, why am I in here? And you won't remember why you're in there. But your mouth, before you put the Oreo in it, will be going trash, trash.
Trash,
You're like,
trash.
I'm saying something. What am I saying? Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be looking for trash. I'm not joking. There are always people all over the world who are going trash, trash, trash. Once you get good at that and you're like, I have a few more minutes, then hopefully this isn't going to work in the pantry, but it works almost everywhere. The second one is laundry, 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 laundry. Almost everywhere you look, there are like shoes, socks,
Hmm.
coats, sweatshirts, whatever. There's laundry that needs to go into laundry or is clean and needs to be put away. So you do the trash, you do the laundry. And then the third one is food and dishes, food and dishes. So in our house, I mean, we used to have that rule, you don't eat anywhere other than the
Yes.
kitchen. I don't know. I think everybody gave that one up during the pandemic.
Yep.
So wherever you are, there's food and dishes. And by the time you're done with all 3 of those, you now have accomplished 3 different things. And in most spaces, like if somebody's ringing the doorbell, most spaces look pretty good by the time you're done with those 3 things. So that is your getting started: trash, then laundry, then food and dishes.
Okay. So can I just because I want to ask this. So I understand trash, you're saying laundry, you're like looking in that same space for anything that
Yeah.
needs to go into the laundry. Are you advocating then that we do that? Because I because I
But I mean,
right?
yes and no. I mean, this is not an exact science. If you're
Yes.
in the laundry room and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to move the laundry, start the
Yeah, I can
laundry.
at
Yes,
least do
it
that.
would be.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes 2-3 minutes. It'd be better to do that than to go back in that same space because you're moving that forward. So this is not in our little script, but I always say you should get your machines and your people working for you. So
Yes.
the order in which you do things really does matter. So if you only have an hour to clean your house,
Mhm.
always start the laundry first, then start the dishwasher,
Yep.
then start, your regular organizing. Because when you're done with your hour, the dishwasher and the laundry will be done. You can move it to the dryer and empty the dishwasher.
Love it.
You get
Love
more
it.
done.
Yes, absolutely. That is so good. That is so good. So, okay, I love that because obviously you're tackling the feeling of overwhelm and you're giving
Hmm.
people like very quick, easy steps to just get started.
Hmm.
You don't have to think
Yes.
about it. You just have to say trash, 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 laundry, laundry, laundry.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Yeah. Which I love because especially as we know with ADHD, sometimes you kind of get distracted, so you need to kind of cue
Hmm.
yourself.
Yes.
So for the next question though, I'm really curious to know. So then how do we then keep adding additional steps every time we organize?
So once you get really good at trash, laundry, food, and dishes,
Yep.
then you're ready to actually start organizing the space that you're in. And that's learning the skill of organization. Either, I have a course, or you ask somebody who's organized, what would you do next in this step? But the next step of getting a space organized is twofold. One, you have to stop yourself from going and changing the laundry and stay in the space that is unorganized and push through that uncomfortable, I don't know what to do with all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
2, you need to maintain understanding how dirty and unorganized the place was when it still had trash in it, and not be focusing so much on what it could look like if it was in a magazine or in Pinterest. And that's self-monitoring, like how far you've come versus how far you have to go, and make your how far you have to go more realistic and less idealistic in order to continue to be motivated to move forward.
Can you say that again? Make it more realistic than idealistic.
Yes. So especially so this is kids' health, right?
Hmm.
We have an idea in our head about what a child's bedroom should look like when it's clean and organized.
Yes.
And it is not a realistic picture. And we as adults can go in any child's bedroom and we can see all of the things that are not where they need to be,
Yep.
instead of celebrating how far that child has come and learning their organizational skills. So I mentioned that it took my kids a different amount of time to learn to organize their space. And one of my kids, it took 6 months. 6 months of me going in every single Saturday. Organizing is a learnable skill. I didn't say it was easy. I just said it was learnable. And so at first, this child would just sit on their bed and I would do the whole thing. And they'd have to sit there the whole time that I did it. And then a couple weeks in, they were just responsible for getting rid of any trash
Hmm.
before I came in and did the whole job. And then a couple weeks later, they had to do all the trash. And then I sent them back in to get all the laundry. And then I did the rest. And then they did trash and laundry and dishes. And mind you, we are almost 3 months in at this point. I am still picking up the books and the toys and the everything. It took a full 6 months. But now, here we are 6 years later, both of my kids will still call me when they are overwhelmed. And I'll say, oh, yeah, I totally understand. Go pick up all the trash in your apartment and call me back. They call me back. Okay, go get all the laundry in the laundry and get it started and call me back. And they
Okay.
don't call me back after that because now the script is started and they're like, okay, yeah, food and dishes. And then they just get, and they get, I mean, they vacuum and all. It is immaculate, but it is on their terms. They learned it slowly over time. They both have a different end goal that they want when they're done organizing. But let me just tell you, it gets pretty close to perfect if you ask me. But the last part of that is because they have ownership. They're in their apartments and they want it to be organized because it's their apartment and they're in charge of it.
Hmm.
But I started calling their bedrooms their apartments when they were 10. And so
Yes.
they've always felt like their space was their apartment. They just now actually live in an apartment and they call it an apartment.
I love that. I mean, that I remember when we talked about this topic with my families and my Teach Me ADHD community, where you introduced that
Mhm.
concept of calling your child's space, their bedroom, an apartment. Can you tell us
Yes.
how you came up with that?
So I grew up kind of out in the country,
Uh-huh.
and my sister is 4 years younger than me, and I made this elaborate game called Big Friend, and our bikes were our cars and our bedrooms were our apartments, and so we'd go to each other's apartment and we would meet in the kitchen, which was our restaurant, and had a highly active imagination as a child. I did a lot of babysitting, but when I started organizing, professionally organizing, and I would organize children, the parents would mess up the organization. They'd be like, oh, no, we can't get rid of that. Or I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So then I said, okay, I will organize your kids, but here I have two rules. Number one, you can't be in the room when we do it. And number two, they can get rid of absolutely anything they want. They're not going to throw it away. You can put it in the storage room if you want. You own the whole house.
Mhm.
They own this space. And in this space, they get to decide what they keep in here and what they don't. And of course, the parents agreed. And then the kids were so ecstatic. And they were really great at getting rid of a lot of things that their parents had sentimental attachments to that the kids did not. And also, they wanted to keep really weird things that the parents had no sentimental attachment to that the kids really, really wanted.
Uh-huh.
And once they had in their space what they wanted and what they valued, they then maintained it.
Wow. I mean, that's so inspiring. That
Mhm.
is so great. And I can imagine a little Lisa like having this conversation and orchestrating this whole thing. I love it. I love it. I mean, because that's the important thing. Like, you want your children to have ownership. And what I
Yes.
love about your story is that you acknowledge that both kids have ADHD, but they're very different. And
Yes.
you tailored this so that they each can sort of do it the way they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. And again, taking those baby steps, I think if just hearing that out loud for parents watching this and realizing that sometimes we have that expectation like, okay, they need to go clean their room, but you want them to do it right then, everything all
Yes.
all at once. But hearing what you just said is like, okay, you're modeling. You're doing
Mhm.
it there
Mhm.
with them present, not with the expectation that they have to actually actively engage until certain parts, but
Right.
they're watching you how you do it.
hmm
Yeah.
Yes, and I think if you think about it, a bedroom is a realistic space for a
Mhm.
child to organize and learn to organize through their childhood years. You, as the adult, have the entire house. And I was never successful at having my kids have jobs
Mhm.
and chores because they just could not handle that additional responsibility. And along the way, I realized, oh, yeah, I'm the owner of the house.
Yep.
They are the owner of that smaller space. And if you think of yourself, how often do you have your entire house all organized and picked up 100%? It's like 3 times a year.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, when your mother-in-law is coming over for a birthday or something. Like, it's not very often.
Yes.
And to keep it at that level is a lot of work. A lot of work to keep it at that really, company ready level.
Yep.
And it's not necessary to have it at that level all of the time.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I mean, I think parents watching this and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I totally need my child to work with Lisa or learn how to organize their apartments." How do they get more information about this? Do you have any resources for families about this?
Yeah, so I have a podcast, 7-year-old podcast. We have over 500 episodes that are free, Organize 365.
Uh-huh.
And then also at organize365.com, I teach people how to organize their entire house, and we have a program just for kids.
I love it. So for parents of kids and you're like, okay, you're chomping at the bit.
Mhm.
What is the ideal age for this course for the kids?
So our kids program is for 0 to 25-year-olds. So from zero, and all the course content is in there. So parents can learn what to do for 0 to 5-year-olds. From 5 to 12, I teach a child how to clean and organize their bedroom. And then for 13 to 25, I teach you how to go from that bedroom to your actual first dorm, apartment, condo, whatever it's going to be.
Wow. Wow. So you really do pay attention to the developmental age and
Yes.
stage and then help them get ready to launch. So that way, when you send them off to college, you don't have to worry.
Yes, right. Yeah. We actually just took all the Organized 365 employees that are in their early 20s and we put them through the launch program. And they're like, this is all the hashtag adulting questions I had that I didn't know how to ask. And then my parents didn't tell me or could not figure out how to explain to me how to do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love this so much. So, any other sort of just tips, I guess, especially when, you know, I guess because you brought up the fact that you do help families try to understand between 0 to 5, 5 to 12, and then 13 and up. Is there any key takeaways? Like if a mom of a 4-year-old is watching this,
Mhm.
is there
She,
anything that she
she
needs to
should
think?
take a nap. She
Yeah.
should take a nap. You know that, Dr. Bauer. If your kids are under the age of 5, the parents should take a nap
I
because,
know, but
I
I
mean,
wanted you to
what's
say
the point?
that. I wanted you to say that
Take
because
a
that
nap.
is I want you to give them
um,
permission.
the other things I would say is in your family, if you have 3 or more children, one of your children is naturally organized. They're a naturally organized child,
Uh-huh.
and go ahead and let them organize your pantry for you. like just let them run the house, and people will start to follow them. So go with that. And then the other thing is, if your kids are overwhelmed
Mhm.
when they're on spring break, if you're going to be home, that's a great time to like tackle their bedroom at their direction. Um, and then wait until the summer. Like, so I always used every summer to teach life skills because during the school year, it was, my kids, their job was to be in school, and it was not an easy job for them. So I did not put any additional responsibilities or expectations on them. I didn't teach them how to organize their bedroom during
Mhm.
the school year. We started in the summer, and we did it every single Saturday in the summer, and
Mhm.
that's how we did it. So
Mhm.
think about your energy level, their energy level. They'll get it
That's so
eventually.
important. So
Yeah.
important. And one last question, Lisa, if I may. So, with these strategies that you just taught us and gave us, do you think that these are the same strategies that you would apply in sort of helping a child learn how to organize their backpack or, those types of organizational skills that they do have to worry about during the school year?
Yes. So inside of the kids program, we
Yep.
do like everything. So we do the backpack, we do the binder, we do school, we do a school section at home. So your bedroom is organized every Saturday. That's like cleaning and organizing your house. And then
Mhm.
on Sunday, we have a checklist that we go through, which is preparing for the next week of school,
Uh-huh.
making sure all of your work is done, all of your activity bags are cleaned out, that all of your lunches are figured out, that you've looked at your schedule for the next year. So as an adult, we organize our house, and then we go through our Sunday basket on Sunday. So kids go through their backpacks on Sunday.
Yes, yes. Can you just, because you brought it up, I love the Sunday basket idea. Can you just tell people what that is? Because I have you on and you said it, so it's great. So,
So the Sunday basket, it's just this box that sits on your kitchen counter,
uh-huh.
and it has some slash pockets in it, and it's a place for you to put all of your actionable to-dos, mails, ideas, everything that just comes into you all week long. You just keep putting it in this box, and then on Sunday you take it all out and you process it all once a week and pick out realistically what can you get done the next week, what are you just going to delegate or defer or delete and not even do, and then what projects can be held until later.
Oh, yes. Yeah. After you talked about that in my Teach Me ADHD community, several families were like, I started that. I started that. We needed that. So it's so great. And so, guys, please check out Lisa, check out her website, check out her podcast. She's amazing. She has so many pearls for you, which will just help everybody. I mean, I think, when you live in an organized space, and again, a realistic organized space, everybody just can breathe easier, just kind of takes that
Yes.
stress out. So, yes. Well, thank you again so much. It was such a pleasure chatting with you and learning from you today. I always love chatting with you. Your energy is so lovely.
Thank you, Dr. Bauer.
Yes. And then, guys, if you guys are on social media, you have a Facebook and Instagram account. Are you in an
I'm mostly on Instagram,
Okay.
Organized 365.
Yes, check out her reels. They're so fun. Okay, guys. So I also wanted to tell you next week's guest is Kathleen Hobson Davis, who will be talking to me about when your child's struggling, Resiliency 101 for Parents, also known as From Survival to Thrival. Yes. So please tune in next week at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Also, just a reminder, we're in the last week or so of the February book club, but my friend Dr. Damon Korb, we're reading Raising an Organized Child. So he's going to be doing a book club chat next or this coming Sunday already. So please tune in for that. You'll get all the details. It's in the parenting discussion group. And again, please, please do check out Lisa's website, sign up for her newsletter and alerts. You don't want to miss it. And if you can, buy one of her courses. All right. And then lastly, One last housekeeping. Agency doors open March 3rd for my Teach Me ADHD course. If you go to that link right there, you can join the waitlist. Why do you want to join the waitlist? Because if you do, when agency doors open, you can get up to 15% off and you get to secure your chosen class time. I'm only going to be offering 2 class times this go around, so you don't want to miss it. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all